All right, hey, I just wanted to check in because I finished another book, and that is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 in the Mistborn trilogy, and it's actually really good. First thing I want to say is I have been really slow on my reading lately. I've had a lot of stuff that I've been doing that is not reading related, so it's been taken a hit on my reading. I think I've only read 2 books this month, which is just abysmal, and I really need to get back on that, so yeesh. But anyways, in terms of this actual book, this takes place a year after the end of the first book, where Vin kills the Lord Ruler, and Elend has become the king of Luthadel, and there's not a lot of trust in him because he's a young guy and he's very honest and he's a very good man. And people kind of don't have a lot of faith in him to do what needs to be done in these hard times. It's saying it like that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it makes sense in the story itself. Vin is Elend's bodyguard, and she has to stop assassins right at the beginning of the book from trying to kill Elend. Other kingdoms want to take over. There's a lot going on immediately, and it was honestly kind of hard to get into for me for a bit. It did eventually hook me towards the middle of the book. I really got into the story, but at the beginning it was a little hard for me to get into. But while they're in Luthadel as well, they are searching for the Lord Ruler's ATM stash, which is that special metal that can essentially make a Mistborn see slightly into the future and predict moves and almost makes them unstoppable, almost. Vin also takes on a Kandra companion, which is the monster kind of thing that can eat other remains and turn into that thing. His name is Orsier, I believe is how you pronounce it, and she feeds him a dog's bones so that it looks like just a wolf dog companion following her around, but in reality it's somebody that's there to help protect her and provide services according to a contract that Kandra have with humans. Orsier is kind of a dickhead a little bit. There's kind of not a lot of trust between Orsier and Vin. They do build upon it throughout the story, but at the start it is there's not a whole lot of trust. Pretty quick into the story, we find 2 armies moving upon Luthadel to take over Luthadel. There is a man named Set and his army. Set is kind of a dickhead. He's a crippled dude who just comes across as an asshole when he talks. And then there is Straff, which is Elend's father. He's moving in on the city as well with his army, and they kind of both just camp outside of the city walls, and are waiting to attack them. And this really puts Elend's leadership to test, because what do you do in this situation, especially when one of them is your father? And it's a very strange dynamic. He's not fully confident in himself as the king. He knows the legislation and laws better than anybody, but actually putting it to practice, the only way you can get that kind of experience is by getting that kind of experience, you know what I mean? So it's a difficult situation for him to be put in, and he loses a lot of more people's trust, and kind of loses some faith from the people and this board of government that they have, that Elend actually helped create. So there is one saving grace. There is a terraceman or terracewoman that's kind of like Sazed, who shows up. Her name is Tindwyl, and she goes to Elend and helps him become more kingly, essentially. She had studied all of these great kings and leaders of the past, and so she knows what she's talking about. And she becomes an advisor of Elend of sorts that really helps him become a leader and become a king. And I really like that storyline. I really like Elend. Elend's my favorite character in this book by far. But she comes on and she helps him out. And she was once, under the Lord Ruler, she was once a breeder who had to just kind of give birth to more and more, I guess, terracemen. It's kind of fucked up. Kind of fucked up. Another little subplot is they're trying to figure out where this well of ascension is, which they believed is where the Lord Ruler got all of his powers. And Vin can feel this pulsing and this building throughout the book. She can like sense this beating and this power. She's not 100% sure where it's coming from throughout the book, but she can sense it, and she believes that this is the well of ascension that she's sensing. And I apologize, my nose is a little plugged if I'm saying words a little weird. But Vin is also seeing this like ghostly shape out in the distance that's kind of following her around. She's not really sure what it is. The mists are acting weird. In other towns, they're starting to kill people. There's these monsters called the Koloss, I believe is how you pronounce them, that they're described disgustingly, like a stretched skin among these weird misshapen bodies that are blue, I think. It's an ugly sight to picture. But they're starting to rise up, and they're starting to misbehave and starting to kill more and more, and there's threats of them moving in on the town itself, so now they have another threat to worry about. One of Straff's mistborn, which yes, Straff has a mistborn that he's sending into town to fight Vin every once in a while. His name is Zane, and there's a dynamic between Zane and Vin throughout a good portion of the story of we are more alike than we'd like to admit kind of thing. Zane kind of is trying to pull her to his side more than Ellen's side. There's a cool little storyline going on there, and Zane kind of despises Straff. Straff doesn't really fully trust Zane. There's some good moments there as well. Honestly, the second half of this book is phenomenal. The first half was all right. It set up the second half very well. I think in going back and rereading this story, I would appreciate it a whole lot more now that I am more into the world again. The first book almost felt like it could have been standalone, so I was unsure going into this story what it would actually be. And I should have just trusted the process of Brandon Sanderson, I suppose. This is only the second Sanderson book I've read, because the first one was the Final Empire, the first Mistborn book. So I don't know. I kind of want to leave it there, because I think if I go any further, I'll go into spoiler territory, because there's a lot of cool shit that happens in this book. But I really think that this is one that you guys just gotta kind of read to find out everything that goes on, and I really enjoyed it in the end. I would say that I recommend Mistborn so far. I am excited to pick up the third book. I'm going to try to probably get to that maybe next month. I don't know. I have a huge stack of books still that I need to read. I was really hoping that I would be reading more this month, but like I said, just being back around friends and family again has really slowed my reading down, because I'm not alone in my room constantly anymore. So, but anyways, that is my slight thoughts on the second Mistborn book, The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. And yeah, I appreciate y'all for sticking around this long, and thanks.